Leprosy, a disease as old as civilization.
It's a disease which ideally should not exist by now, because we have all the tools that are required to make sure that this disease does not exist anymore.
Still wreaking havoc in the lives of many.
If you see my foot here, there's a plastic inside, both legs. I was in wheelchair for 6 months without walking.
Declared an eliminated disease years ago.
Cases of leprosy are emerging again in Ghana.
In 2018, over the year, we had 276 new cases. In 2019, over the whole year, we had 279 new cases. This year, when you check our DIMS reports from the various regions, the reports we've received, between January and February, we have 17 new cases.
Spreading through continuous contact.
Now, actually, on coffee, I can't frank so. No, so none for patas, so no, if you ain't under or tell or talk. Now, I can't warrant so. The warrants, no, the apple, why I could keep Uncle for moon, I ain't. Uncle Ponad, Madame, Major, Mammy, assure ye.
But it is not all doom and gloom.
If you come and say, look, I've got leprosy, and they give you the medicine, within 6 months you're cured. Not to be hidden away. In the olden days, you hid people away who had leprosy.
Sadly, the associated stigma makes this difficult for many.
And a lot of people, because of the stigma, will hide and will not go in for the necessary tests and will not confess that this is the problem. And so it gets too late to stop the disability and all of that.
That stigma isn't the only reason for this.
It falls under the neglected tropical diseases. And because it falls on that, a lot of attention is not placed on that. You find malaria, TB, HIV, maternal and newborn issues taking the center stage. But a case like leprosy is least spoken about. So if people even have the disease, they are even not aware. And because the disease is also silent, it's a painless disease, people take it as normal.
Leprosy is neglected tropical disease caused by the slow-growing bacterium called Mycobacterium leprae that causes and spreads the disease when someone with an active case sneezes or coughs. Treatment of the disease has been available since 1995, but the condition keeps destroying lives and livelihoods around Ghana. My name is Seth Kwame Boatin, and in this documentary, I explore the issues around the spread of the disease in Ghana and why you must be concerned. Out of Ghana's 16 regions, leprosy is everywhere. It is, however, endemic in regions like the Upper West and Central region. In the Bible, leprosy was often described as a curse.
It's a leper. Stay back. Cover your mouth. Don't breathe his air. Don't come any closer.
In this documentary, we take you on a journey to uncover how this dreaded disease continues to affect people, including children. Live from the Upper West Regional Capital, where I am now, poverty is not the only issue here. Leprosy is also another challenge. It is a neglected tropical disease. We thought Ghana had completely eliminated leprosy, but that is not the case. Here in the Upper West region, every district you visit, there are cases of leprosy, and they are recording higher numbers. We are here to seek answers. We want to establish why it is so and what can be done to solve the problem. The team has traveled about 700 kilometers to this region, which has for many years maintained its first position on the league table of leprosy endemic regions. Gordon Tuara, the Upper West Region Leprosy Coordinator, is the first person we meet, and he straight away talks about how serious the problem is in the region.
We have about 9 new cases just at the start of the year, which the first quarter itself is not yet ended. And when you really compare the trend, one municipal in 2019 recorded 22 new leprosy cases, representing about 1.67% of the elimination target, which is highly above the required target of elimination,
Which is 0?
which is 1 or less than 1 per 10,000 population in the prevalence. But with the case detection rate, it should be 1 case per 100,000 population.
This is worrying, and for the health workers here, led by the Regional Health Director, Dr. Seikufo Afre, how to reverse the trend is a big headache.
And it's surprising that a whole municipality like Wa is still having a transmission of leprosy ongoing. So these two districts, Wa Municipal and Laura, still remain a challenge.
The Upper West region remains the poorest in Ghana, according to the Ghana Statistical Service. And because leprosy is linked to poverty, experts are not surprised about the situation in this region. Dr. John Humphrey Amosi is with the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, School of Public Health.
A synonym for neglected tropical diseases is diseases of poverty. Now, when we say neglected tropical diseases, sometimes it takes away from what these diseases are, because really it's not the disease that is neglected, it is the sufferers from the disease who are neglected. So it is the neglected tropical diseases of neglected peoples, but of course that'll be too long, you know. So what happens is that these diseases disproportionately affect the poor, because they are diseases which, by virtue of the lifestyles of people on account of their poverty, they become more susceptible to. Not only to getting it, but also the suffering that goes along with it. The disfigurement, the ostracization, and the inability to integrate into society, which further pushes them even deeper into poverty, because they are denied the opportunities that the average person would have. So we call these diseases of poverty because of the disproportionate way in which they affect the poor. And perhaps leprosy is one of the biggest examples of these.
Evidences of this abound in almost every part of the Upper West region. One of the communities where this reality is playing out is Grungu in the Wa West district, about 1.5 hour drive from the Wa municipality. I am headed there. The Grungu community-based health planning and services is where many of the cases are brought, mostly at very advanced stages. Mumuni Abubakari is the nurse in charge.
Family members think the condition is they attach it to witchcraft and other things, and because of that they are being stigmatized, and some are even outcast and abandoned.
Really?
Yes. And when they come here, they see the healthcare provider as a refuge, and that is why they come here. Some come no even health insurance, and when they come here, you have to treat such clients. They come no limbs, and no digits. They can't even take fingerprints to access health insurance services.
On the outskirts of Gurungu is the village of Motori. There is no paved road leading there. It was a big struggle getting through to this enclave, and it's the place we were confronted with some of the shocking stories about leprosy in this region. On a dirt compound is a thatched roofed mud house. Out of it, a frail-looking old woman emerges and walks towards a mango tree to get fresh air. Her name is Daripuga, a woman possibly in her 80s, living alone in this part of the village with her 13-year-old granddaughter. Daripuga suffered leprosy at a younger age, but at that time, she did not know what it was. She used local concoctions in the hope that she would recover, but over time, her condition worsened. She has lost all her 10 fingers, and from afar, you might think both hands have been amputated from the wrist. She remembers exactly how one after the other, she lost all her fingers.
Yes. Local medication, a black concoction she used to smear on the skin. Okay. Yeah, he used to smear on the body.
And did she know it was a medical condition or?
Say initially they sent her to war when the condition set in, and that time Upper West wasn't developed as it stands today, and she went there and they said there wasn't medicating as at that time, and she came back. She said the experience is that it will swell from the digits, and it will start chopping off from the digits, from digit to a digits, call them phalanges, one phalanges to the next phalanges, to the next phalanges, till it reached the palm. That was how they start falling, and that was the beginning where he cannot feed herself.
Leprosy affects the tissues, especially the cartilage, and then more importantly affects the nerves. Now when the nerves are affected, it means that there is loss of sensation. Okay, it's not loss of mobility, although there is to some degree, but largely loss of sensation because it's the peripheral nerves or the nerves that are on the surface, if I put it that way, that are affected, which means that you do not feel pain, you don't feel sensation. For that reason, you can injure yourself and not realize it. Okay, so they end up with sores and with ulcers that eat away at the flesh. The disease in itself also technically eats away at the flesh, the cartilage, and the bone. And so over the years, you get the digits or the extremities receding. And that's where you end up with this club-like features of the fingers or the toes.
And for this old woman, it appears the disease has also affected her eyes, so she tears up unknowingly. She manages to clean those tears with her disfigured hand. Daripuga has lost 4 of her 10 children. The rest hardly visit. In fact, for over 5 years now, none has visited her. All she has now is her life and her granddaughter. She goes to bed without any idea where her next meal would come from, until good Samaritans pass by and offer them food. Daripuga says at times they sleep on empty stomach.
Okay, what basically she's saying is that is food. If she get money, she can buy food and cook and eat. She's happy. Apart from that, what again does she need? That's what she's telling us.
All she needs is daily meals.
Daily meals. Yes. That's what she said. So.
Today, what she had survived on until our arrival was this mashed local staple called tuzafi, made of corn flour. It wouldn't take a child less than a minute to consume it all, but because it's not enough, Daripuga sips it hourly so it can sustain her throughout the day. Anytime she's unwell and had to visit the local health facility, she treks for miles on her deformed legs, which have only her 2 big toes left.
She rather said before she can embark on the journey, she needs to set off as early as possible before the sunrise. She have to walk small. Sometimes before she get to the health center, the cleaners are still even cleaning around. So she will wait when they finish cleaning everything, just take care of her, serve her the medication.
And then she treks back.
So you can see where she lives. You might think it's an abandoned structure. No, it's not an abandoned structure. That's where she rests her head. And at times when there's nobody here, she has nothing to eat because there's nothing she can do for herself. You can also check on where she sleeps. This is where she sleeps. And she's here alone with her granddaughter. And if the granddaughter is not available, there's nothing she can do.
Half of the little space inside where she sleeps is occupied by a number of cooking pots and other utensils. Some 2 small openings in this room provide some amount of ventilation for her. The structure looks very weak, one that could collapse anytime.
Leprosy is a disease that lasts for a long time. It can last for a lifetime. It may not send you to an early grave per se, but it will live with you forever and really take the joy out of life for you. So people can have leprosy and it can take up to 5 years or even 20 years for it to become manifest. And once you have it and it's not treated, you can have it for life.
The woman got into contact with us at the latter stages of the disease. And normally at the latter stages, it comes with a lot of complications. So once it comes to those complications, we may end up treating the disease, but issues of missing toes, missing fingers are very difficult to manage.
The myths and misconceptions surrounding the disease are making the leprosy fight difficult.
Normally these neglected diseases, they are termed to have a spiritual connotation. That is the belief people have inculcated in people. So people will first want to go to a traditional healer or a spiritualist or a pastor who may want to do some things. And normally in this present day of modern medicine, some of the things are not for them. So that at least if they went there and then they had also advised them that this is beyond what we can manage, so go to hospital and seek health care. That one will mitigate a lot of the challenges or complications that may arise with the management of the diseases.
Like the 80-year-old woman, around the world, research suggests an estimated 2 to 3 million people are living with leprosy-related disease disabilities.
With leprosy, if you can detect early, chances of cure are very high, and you can stop the disabilities and the sores and all of that. But once you don't identify it early, you have a problem.
In Ghana, current data on the disability situation is not available. In 2014, however, out of some 366 leprosy cases, 21 of them suffered disability. In 2015, 12 out of 302, while in 2016, 14 out of 291 cases. In 2017, there were 258 cases with 26 suffering disabilities. There were 276 leprosy cases in 2018, and 35 of them suffered serious disabilities. These are worrying numbers, no matter how low they are. That's according to Dr. Benedict Kwao, manager of the National Leprosy Program.
If we don't check leprosy, we'll lose a lot of our able-bodied men and women to deformities and disability. So it is a disease of public health significance because it can afflict a lot of individuals, rendering them more impoverished, unable to add to our economic advantage, and it is able to be transmitted.
Yes, the transmission is real, and there are many such cases in other communities in the Upper West region.
We have disabilities that are not really cases in the region. They are the people from Upper West who base down south, and because they seek services elsewhere, going to the traditional healers, doing their own things, and finally they are not getting results to it. They then come home at the time they have disabilities have already set in, and we capture them here and put them on treatment. So in most cases, the disability ones are cases that are always traveled in and are the people of Upper West.
In the Laura municipality, which is about 85 kilometers from Wa, there are cases like that. The 41-year-old Swansa Sakura is one of the many cases here. He lived in Techimantuabodom in the Bono East region. That was when he started showing symptoms. He was then 35 years and he had to return to Laura. Swansa Sakura didn't have an idea what leprosy was.
I never knew of this condition before. It is when I had it that people came close to me and told me that I'm suffering from leprosy. And that really brought me home from Tuobodom, the Techiman municipality, to my hometown to seek treatment.
Even when Sakura returned to his hometown, he had no knowledge of the exact place to receive leprosy treatment. It was by sheer luck Sakura got spotted by the Laura Municipal Disease Control Officer, Robert Sala, one day.
I was going to work, so when I got to the village, I saw them doing the CWC session. I said, okay, let me get there and see how they are doing. So I got there and I saw him. I said, what about this one? Have we seen this case? They said all the time they have been seeing him and they'll be advising him that he should come to the hospital. He's not coming. And there that I based on, I said, okay, I'm going to work. I want to come on Monday, that he should come and see me. So on Monday, he didn't come. I picked my motorbike from the office to the house. I went and picked him. I want to pick his pictures, and I sent the pictures to my boss at the regional level.
The disfigurement that had started on his face was what caught Robert's attention.
If you see the way around this area, the way it was just very bad. Very, very, very bad with the ears. Even the soles, they were crack like that. Cannot wear any sandals. So I just, that's what impressed me. I said, no, let me follow up this case.
Sakura is not the only person in his family with leprosy. He has an auntie with the condition, and in fact, his father also died from leprosy-related complications. I meet another person whose disability has just started. He is called Ayel Zubanuma, and he's 27 years.
Okay, over to me who said, Bibia or Dabi Dabi. You say, on Chinisa, a son, I then I ban on her who said, Bibia. Yes, I want to me. That be say, me, I'm in prayer, and night, that be any enemy son. And mean to me, a Monday, yeah, don't know first, and I mean, do a pass, they mean to me, Miss Swim, as far as I'm the bed, don't know. Me drop honey her, na me sunning in a honor, na pipe, I mean to me, chimney some as he swallowed me.
Health officials here have adopted a strategy to help identify persons with leprosy. Gordon Twara, the Upper West Region Leprosy Coordinator, tells us more.
Now, case searches are ongoing in some particular districts, and we basically concentrate on the passive reporting. Health workers' capacity building, though not enough, has also made us to be able to really get most of the cases at hand in the community.